Throughout the season, when in trouble in the second half, they managed to find another gear. Can they do it with time running out? There is Ingram to bat the ball away. Williams could tie it with a three. He goes! Tied at 38 seconds to
Oh, what are you doing? He threw him out of the ball game. You gotta be taping me. What in the hell are you doing? What are you doing, Warner?
No, listen, stick around the game. You listen to an old veteran like me. I'll show you how to talk on the air, boy. Yeah, talk, you know, to TV. No, really, TV, cameras and going on and shit like that. Huh? I'm telling you, man. I'll show you how to make a living with this stuff. I'll show you how to have the people eating right out of here.
My name is a white people, not Vietnamese or Chinese or Japanese.
In this video,
you my
I'll show
opposer
you.
when I want freedom. You my opposer when I want justice. You my opposer when I want equality. You won't even stand up for me in America for my religious beliefs, and you want me to go somewhere and fight, but you won't even stand up for me here at home.
We're on. You'll have to watch out for
Hello, everybody.
You'll have to watch out for these video issues that have kept us pretty delayed. Clifton, you're already frozen out, so
Of course, baby. Yeah.
here, hold on.
If nothing, you'll get our audio, our sweet audio, and you'll see the nice overlays we have, and you will see the vision of the future of what we will one day potentially look like.
If Discord would ever work. Yeah. We're on. We got one watcher. One
Freedom,
person.
baby.
Yes.
Yeah, baby.
Feel free to enter stuff in the chat. We have a chat now. So, yes, I'm also going to crate because I didn't have time to with all the madness of setting the stream.
And I don't have any because you guys keep leaving me out of it. No big deal. All good.
There's websites. There's a website.
I don't.
It's a community though. I want to be part of the community.
It's Kratom is not a gang. It's a collection of like-minded individuals.
I'm also enjoying this orange jasmine hard cider spritzer.
That is.
Oh shoot. Sorry, I lost them. I lost them. Hold on. Discord has not been good to us today. So I'm gonna kill some time here. Talking about stuff. Talking about. Are you guys back? Did we get you back? Talking about this hard cider spritzer. It's very good. It's from Asheville. I'm still connecting. I've lost them. Yeah, it would be great if they could come back. Yeah. Let me try it again. Let's. All right. We'll see what happens. Yeah, we got a great show if we can ever get to it. What do we even have on the docket? We have some fun stuff. We have some Nate Silver slander. We have some NCAA's talk. We have other things. All right. Let me see if this will work. Yeah. So this is the joy of debugging Discord. It hasn't been working for the many times we've tried to use it, and yet we have no option.
To the Wright brothers, you know.
Oh, there we go. They're back. Thank God.
Yeah.
It was just me.
We're back.
It was just me trying to entertain everyone. So
we're back. We lost you.
That means-
two of us are having a perfectly fine conversation without you.
That's
that means
right.
the stream lost you too. So
Wow, really? So
Clifton,
we're already
I have
lost?
no video for you guys. Can you guys refresh?
Of course, man.
Yeah, yeah, there we go. Okay. Yeah, we really got to figure out something better than Discord for next week. Anyways, so yeah, where were we? We were talking Kratom. We were talking Kratom. We were talking artisanal ciders / spritzers. Yeah.
But you talking about hard seltzer?
I don't think it's a hard seltzer. I think it says spritzer, and I thought it was I thought it was another seltzer.
You know what?
Since I was trying to rebrand as the seltzer guy, since you're doing a rebrand.
Yeah. Right. Well, yeah.
If you notice
But
in the
also-
overlay, we have Clifton's already begun Maurice has already began the rebrand.
That's what I'm talking about, baby.
We lost your video
It
again,
is.
Maurice.
Of course we did. I do. Alright.
Just get used to us saying you lost your video.
I really think we should go with the plan we came up with before the live stream.
Which one is that?
I don't want to give it away, but you know, the fruit.
The plan that Maurice is talking about is he came up with a plan that's
Nathan,
ceding
banana.
all control to.
Banana, Nathan.
His plan was how about cede all editorial control to me, and
I'm down.
make me El Jefe. We vetoed that 2-1.
Yeah. So Clifton is now Maurice. Hey Nate, banana.
Always was though. Always
Banana.
was.
That's true.
You
I
gotta
only
make-
accidentally knew you as Clifton, and it
Yes.
was
Yes.
capitalism's fault.
It literally was, because otherwise I wouldn't have even had to get that shitty ass job. We would have never met though.
Yeah, it's true. I completely lost Nate. I don't even have audio from him right now.
Hello?
There we go. He's still there, but
No, I just didn't talk for 10 seconds, which is pretty rare.
okay.
Yeah.
But
Regardless,
you have
though,
no
I think
video.
Nate-
You have
Nate-
no video.
Regardless,
There we
so Nate and I established during the little 2-minute break that he and I can hear and see each other just fine,
Yeah.
regardless what happens. So we'll always have that connection.
You will.
That's,
And we're never gonna tell you what we talked about in those 2 minutes.
That's fine.
That's right.
That's fine. I have no video for Clifton, but it's not frozen. It's just loading, so we're just gonna keep going. Or excuse me, Maurice.
Yeah, I say if the video cuts out, just keep going and just know that people watching, this is what it will look like. We'll have video, but look at how bright and shiny our overlay is. It looks really nice, doesn't it? It's great. So it's gonna be that plus our videos next week.
That's right. Hey, also, just so you guys are staying on your toes, I got a Clifton tally going for how many times you call me Clifton.
Damn, did I do it?
Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna tell you what it's at now.
Nate,
guys
just
gotta-
restart
you
your
gotta-
video. Just both of you, just restart your videos every fucking 20 seconds. Just do that.
Yeah, that seems pretty sustainable. That seems pretty.
Just
very-
restart
very
it.
reasonable.
Restart it every 20 to 30 seconds, because that's about how often it freezes. So,
I'll do it as often as I can remember.
Okay.
Mid rant.
Okay. Well, so we got let's get into the actual show as opposed to discussion of technical issues.
right, baby.
Because that's not what the people came here to. They didn't come here to learn about that. To learn about using Discord. What do we want to start with?
Don't.
We had no
tell
time to
people
discuss what we
want.
wanted to actually.
Learning about how it's fucking up constantly for us. How can we tell them how to use Discord? It's fucking up for us.
Maybe someone could help us out.
tell us how to use this quote.
Yeah.
That's what this says. This is a cry for help, actually.
Yeah, exactly. So what do you guys want to start with? We got.
I just wanted like a real quick. I know that there's a lot of other stuff in the article that I shared with the Walker Buehler quote. But I really just wanted to express that I really think that as we wind down to the last 50 years or so of humanity on Earth, within that 50 years there will be a sports revolution. And I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that it's going to be started by baseball minor leaguers.
You think so?
So I think Maurice has picked what we're going to start with. I think we'll start with that.
Yeah, we'll just do that. He's made his money. Oh man, my catfish is finally out of the tank. He looks great. Here, let's do a little quick before we let's get a. Can we see him?
If that
You have a catfish?
There he goes.
If it's not
they're
fried-
fighting. They're fighting.
That's
If
good
it's not
eating.
fried, I don't want to see it, man.
Dude, come on, man. Okay.
Eat that fish.
Yeah.
Eat that fish.
Yeah. So I guess we're kind of the Walker Buehler quote was in response to the 538 right article about why do we even need the minor leagues, which is pretty much the most 538 question possible to ask.
Yeah. It's like if you're gonna write a 2,000 word article that's just summed up like by the word actually, it's that article. It's just that article.
Yeah. One thing I thought was really interesting that kind of not a lot of people brought up in the inevitable think piecing that happened around it was they kind of didn't really talk about I guess like the history of why the minor leagues exists, because it's like a tradition that that predates like when you could watch baseball on TV. And that makes it cool. I don't know where I was going with that point, but they didn't mention that, and I wanted to point out that I know that, I guess, is what I was going for.
Well, are you trying to say that like the minor leagues perhaps does serve a purpose that has kind of gotten lost in the capitalistic shuffle?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, because like for me, I have to like personally, as someone who lives, both of you guys now live in MLB markets, but I would either have to drive to Nate's, or I'd have to drive to Atlanta, both of which are 4.5 hours away to see actual Major League Baseball. But in North Carolina, I could probably see, I don't know, around 15 different teams.
Right.
Actually,
just in North and South Carolina. So we'll say within like a 2.5 hour radius, I could see, and even in Virginia has quite a lot of AAA.
to be fair, I am within. Within 45 minutes of the Nationals and Orioles, which means that I am in a major league and minor league market. If we look at the way the Orioles are operating nowadays, solid AAA ball club there.
Yeah.
In Baltimore.
Yeah.
I'll be there tomorrow.
You're going.
I'll be there tomorrow.
I'm
gonna root for Chris Davis.
Are you?
I love Chris Davis, man.
Yeah.
Chris Davis is a harder job than any person alive. To just go out, just know you're just dog shit, and you go out there every day, and you just try to hit the ball, and you can't, and then you have to do that for like 130 more games, and you just can never hit the ball. I respect it. I do.
Hey, you know what though? I'm honestly just happy that the dude got his contract before he turned to dog shit. Even though, like, it was kind of, we could have all predicted it that would have happened. I think it's really dope. I think it's very pro play. He's got a very pro player contract. He got the giant contract, and I guess it would be better if he would like just sit on his ass instead of actually stinking.
And he's not cashing in. I mean, he's not like cashing in like dudes who get big contracts. And anyone who gets a big contract, good for you. But he's not like somebody who got a big contract and then is just like gave up or like didn't care. He got a big contract and then just got bad. Like he's just bad and he wants to be good. And that's what's endearing about him. Is he wants so hard to be good, and he's just so bad. And that's what's fun about him. And he has a huge, and he's also making tons of money while he's doing it. And you could just, tears of a clown. That's what I think.
Yeah, I mean that's like that does make the whole Chris Davis thing much funnier. Is that he signed like a huge contract, and then promptly began to stink out loud.
He wants to live up to it. I want to live up to my contract. I want to play well, and I just can't anymore. It's funny.
I think the thing about Chris Davis that I'll always remember is just the fact that I remember reading an article before he signed that compared Chris Davis to two guys. It was like this dude's career is either going to go one of two ways. He's either going to be Jim Thome or he's going to be Adam Dunn. And the dude definitely went down the Adam Dunn route. Which is really it's kind of sad.
I mean, he's been worse than Adam Dunn. He's been
is he really?
I don't know. Yeah, he was worse.
I don't know.
Than the bad Adam Dunn season. Yeah, but they're both pretty historically bad. Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's wild.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyways, back to the actual article. We've been talking too much Chris Davis.
It's never no such thing.
Yeah, so basically the long and short of the article is this is like the ultimate the end game of as I believe the Deadspin article referred to it as the end game of the process, aka the 76ers attempt to tank completely to build a better team. And yeah, it is pretty much, like I said, the epitome of anything that 538 actually, it stands for, in that it encourages you to actively dislike any of the parts of something that you enjoy, and you should reduce it down to its most base commodity.
Well, so I have a question there, because I know eventually we're gonna start talking about the NCAA, and in general, what is, or I guess what should be the role of minor league sports or secondary leagues in other sports, as far what would ideally be their role that isn't shitting on the players themselves?
Well, I don't know. I mean, that was the thing is about the Walker Buehler brings up the point that he said something really we all know that we're only there to practice for 4 different guys or whatever. 4 of these guys are gonna make it. Dude, come on. We all know that is the reason for maybe approximately 3 of the people in the crowd at a Major League Baseball game. People don't go to minor league baseball games. Excuse me. People go to fucking minor league baseball games to be to scout talent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They go because they're fucking $5. You don't feel bad when your kid gets bored and you leave. You don't feel bad. I mean, it's just enjoyable to fucking be outside watching baseball. I mean, it's a little bit fun too to do, especially at AAA in Durham. That's a lot of oh shit, I remember that guy. It's definitely a big it's definitely a big time for let's remember some guys.
If you're just an even keeled sort of non brainworms person, and I think you're watching this, think about maybe I'm weird, but I always just go to minor league games, and then when I'm in the seats, when I'm already there, then it occurs to me maybe I should look up which guys are good on this team, right? You never do it beforehand. You're not going to look it up beforehand.
Nate does do that. Nate, when you go to a minor league game with Nate, he looks up the top 25 prospect list and then starts talking very knowledgeably about the prospects.
Once I'm there, I bought the ticket.
It's so what about this Colton Wong guy? He seems like he's been pretty much on the come up.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't Colton Wong. It was Colton Wong's brother.
Isn't Colton Wong the brother? I can't remember which Wong is in Durham.
Colton Wong is a major leaguer.
Okay, it's Keaton.
Keon, yeah,
Keon,
he's
yeah.
playing in Durham. But yeah, that's a fun. It's fun, but like that's
Yeah.
just one. That's just. It reminds me of like of the was it Jeff Stein who did that like classic thing where he's like, Obamacare is cool because people. It's really the interface is really cool. You like going on there and comparing plans. And it's like no one likes that part. Nobody likes that part. And if you do like it, you like it in the way of like, oh, this layout is like more convenient than the previous layout I had. This is a nice thing. This is one of like 20 nice things about healthcare. It's like somewhat easier to parse through, but it's not the nice thing, right? It's like it's cool to know who's going to be in the major leagues in 2 years, but like you don't go to the games for that shit.
No. It's literally just that it's like cheap as hell. It's great for giving out rewards to kids when they finish their book reports.
That's why I go to Orioles. I've been to so many more Orioles games than Nationals games in my years of being in DC because the Orioles are more like a minor league team because the tickets are cheap as fuck. Like that's why I choose like it's more of like a minor league experience. So I choose to go there more than the Nats just bleed me dry with like $50 ticket.
Yeah. Clifton, are you still there? I just want to check on you.
Now I can't hear.
I can't hear either of them. There, I
I
see
think
him.
he'll be back.
Are you there, Clifton? Or Maurice?
Uh-oh.
Oh, I got no sound.
And,
he goes to the...
and if you heard him, he has a notepad out. He's
I see the
tallying
notepad.
up. I see it.
Okay.
Maurice, I didn't say it.
Here,
I didn't
I'm going to
say
try
it.
and leave the call and come back. Okay. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
I cannot hear Clifton. Or Maurice.
Note it. Note it down. Note it
Oh,
down.
Jesus. Oh, my
Go off,
God.
King.
I hate this
I'm
fucking
leaving, coming
software so
back.
much. Okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
That was never the problem.
Okay, there we go. There
Yes.
we go. I can...
All right.
Now he's
Okay.
back.
Okay. Hey man, this is fine and normal. Once we get that Pod Save America money, we won't have to deal with this.
Maurice, you don't have to say what the numbers are right now, but I'm winning, right?
Dude, I can't remember people's fucking names to begin with. So now you're tasking me to now you're tasking me to remember a changed name.
It's not a changed name.
To me it is, man.
Don't do this.
I only know your government name, man.
This is my government name.
Villains.
It's been my name for 24 and a half years.
Adam's coming out with a
used to
new
show me this
Netflix
stuff.
special. Adam's coming out with a Netflix special called Triggered in the next 3 months. What's the deal with these podcast hosts changing their names nowadays? Oh, we didn't do that in the Bronx in the 60s. Oh, wow.
Yes, I have become a free speech advocate.
Shit.
Yeah, so we were talking about minor league baseball. Yeah, no, so the article, like, just totally misses the point of, like, enjoying anything just as something other than what it, like, literally is supposed to be, which is very cool and normal. And,
Can you talk about what they want to, what in this guy's, the author's ideal world, what he wants to replace minor league baseball? It's real bleak.
yeah, he basically wants it to be replaced with Trevor Bauer driveline tunnels and Adam Ottavino's warehouse that he bought in fucking in Manhattan.
Yeah.
Which was like literally just like a storefront that he like installed a TrackMan in to work on his cutter, and this guy thinks that like, oh yeah, like that's all we need. That's all we need. We can reduce it down to its most base part.
And I'm sure that as a part of that, what they really want is like MLB.com can be like, for only $10 a month, you can get live streams into like Joe Q baseball prospects trailer that he outfitted with a fucking like radar gun, and you could watch him whip pitches at a robot. Like,
Well,
would that be cool?
I will say though, like we're kind of making fun of this, but the idea is not so outlandish if you look at what baseball is already doing in Latin America, because they already have like these baseball camps where they're actually playing like full games of baseball, but these players' entire lives revolve 100% around baseball, and then once the teams realize, or once MLB realizes that they won't be coming over to the States, they're completely discarded. So the idea of like these 100% baseball factories is like, it's not as like, I don't know, man. I could see it happening.
Well, and it is funny too that you mentioned that. I mean, that's a good point. That also, this idea is coming like right on the heels of like Major League Baseball literally lobbying the fucking government and making huge campaign donations to goober senators and Congress people and whatnot, to make stipulations in law that they do not have to pay minor leaguers as much. Like, they don't even have to pay the minimum wage.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like yeah, of course that is, like, and that's just like 538 in general. It's just like they try to feign that they like operate in a vacuum, but so they're either too stupid to realize that they aren't, or they're actively trying to influence these ideas. Which I honestly think it's the former, or the latter, I mean. Like, I think that they are just morons. They've just been subsumed by ideology, that they work in like some vacuum lab and like
I think that's safe to say. I think it's safe to say that, like, I mean, because who's giving messages to Nate Silver of like, push this dumbass that, like, it's almost like it's too stupid to be coordinated. You know what I mean? Like, you couldn't, like, you would have to live, and we sort of do nowadays, but we'd have to live in like an Uber Coen Brothers movie world where like there, you know what I mean, where there's intrigue, and it's like, it's just dumbasses. I mean, it's just Chomsky 101. It's like they are there at that place because they're dumbasses and have dumbass ideas. And if you don't have those dumbass ideas, you can't get hired there.
Yeah. I mean, that is kind of the long and short of the whole thing. Is yeah. And I mean, it's just like too, is like, I mean, I don't even think it would work. Like, on its face, I think it's a stupid idea.
Oh, yeah.
But like, that's the thing, is it won't stop Major League Baseball from trying to move to it.
Do minor? Oh, go ahead.
Are you talking about moving to baseball factories or what?
Yeah, no, I mean, like, now that like, I mean, because I'm sure baseball couldn't come up with that on their own either, like MLB. But now that these like two idiots have fucking combined forces, like, yeah.
Hey,
What's that?
Go ahead, Nate.
Do most minor league teams like make money? Because like, I feel like there is some serious like synergy between the two big things we're going to talk about today, which is like minor leagues and NCAA, where it's like, this is a challenge, like a life-threatening challenge, but also like a big possibility. Like, if minor leagues could go, okay, well MLB is kind of abandoning us, like, but we have an opportunity to create something brand new, and we have leverage here because like we're in all these secondary minor markets that like love baseball but can't get anywhere. Do they make money? Because like, where the rubber is going to hit the road is this: like, not a ton of minor league teams are going to be able to turn a lot of profit. That's just the truth. I mean, you're not going to be able to make a lot of money. But if you accept that, and you move past that, then the opportunities really explode, because then you can have stuff like, if cities value their minor league teams, you can have teams owned by the city, public ownership, like Packers, but actually good, like a good ownership style. Because if everybody in this mid-sized, maybe Ohio, Toledo, right, like 200,000 people, or someplace where the closest major league team is a 5-hour drive away, and you have like 250,000 people in your, like Boise or something, right? Like, you're not going to be able to make a ton of money, but also you value this product, and the MLB is going to cut ties with you. It's going to just try to cut you out of the equation. You could really start having interesting possibilities of ownership, new types of ownership models that don't prioritize profit, but prioritize, this is something good for this city.
Yeah.
If you want to view it that way, I mean, if people have the foresight to view it that way, this is a huge opportunity. If Major League Baseball tries to go down this road and like tries to cut out the minor leagues, like this, you can make a whole independent system that's just the minor leagues minus MLB. What do you guys think about that?
Well, you see, the thing is that it's not like, the thing is that that MLB is using like these as developmental leagues, and like, so if you even are acknowledging that, like, oh yeah, this is just for like 3 or 4 guys to get to the major league level, like, like that development is still like being subsidized by like free labor slash slash MLB, because like they are paying the players, and I would say minor league teams probably turn a profit, most, like, at least some of them, but because like the labor itself is subsidized for like the actual product on the field by MLB. But the thing is like, they're making money like hand over fist, like like MLB is, like, they're making money hand over fist, like on the backs of this subsidized labor. And like, if like their solution is like, let's just get rid of that product, then yeah, I agree that like maybe let them, and we can still have minor league baseball. Like, I mean, but like, I feel like it's more difficult to I guess repurpose the money that would be coming from MLB into that product.
How much major league money? How much goes to the affiliates? Like, what's the percentage of money that is sent to the Toledo Mud Hens? Like, is there what percentage of their budget? Do you know?
I don't know. I mean, it's like,
I would imagine
not a whole lot. I mean, because most of those guys are making like no money. So like, extrapolate, like, let's just say you have 4 leagues, and let's just say for ease of calculation, there's 25 guys on each team. So that's 100 people, right? So let's say that they pay them $30,000 a year. That's $3 million that it costs. And that's even being generous. That's saying that they pay that I would say that $30,000 might be like a good guess at like what they pay in like having a trainer, paying health insurance, and feeding them, like in terms of like total compensation.
Yeah.
Like, that even might be generous. So
I feel like you can make money with that amount of budget. I mean, you have like 50, 60 home games plus concessions. I mean,
you can also,
I just go ahead.
I think you can also like rebrand it too, though. Like, if like, because like right now, I mean, well, I guess I'm kind of maybe speaking from a place of ignorance, because I've never really lived in a minor league baseball town. But I did stay in Joliet, and we had the Joliet Jackhammers, and who changed like the Joliet Slammer Knockers or something. I don't know.
They're Slammers now.
Slammers? Okay.
Yeah, Slammers.
So they changed it, and I mean, that was always cool growing up, because it was like a community baseball thing. It was like it was sort of like a community thing. And so I think that like, if minor league baseball were to branch itself away from Major League Baseball, I don't know. I think that the revenues and the profit, the that whole thing may completely change because they could rebrand themselves as being more involved with the community. And so perhaps that would make people feel like there's more significance to going to a community baseball game, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think you could do so much, but you have to, in my opinion. I don't know all the numbers, but it feels like you have to separate profit from it. You're just like the way to do this and have the minor leagues collapse if there were a separation of the MLB and all the current minor league teams, right? The way to have it collapse is to try and go, we need to run like a business. We need to turn some profit. That's never going to work. The scale isn't big enough, you know. So you have to just envision a new sort of model where, and it would probably mean a lot of teams close up shop. Hopefully not, but it probably would. But you know, having less markets and having them be, you know, we are. I'm rambling, but a commitment to this is a community thing, and you have to, and that can't be done. That has to be actively pushed, and it has to be an idea that is cultivated and fostered. Right? You can't just have it. It's got to be marketed that way.
I mean, I know it's different, but I mean, isn't that sort of how NCAA operates? Well, no, because they operate very much so on complete.
No, but the schools in the NCAA do that's their argument.
Yeah.
Like you know, foreshadowing. That's what Tebow says about you can't have them paid because like what he loves about Florida football is that it's like you go to Florida football not for the players that are playing. That's what he says. Of course you do, because like it's going to sell out if Tebow's quarterback and maybe not sell out if they're losing. But the idea is generally you go to support your college rather than any individual player. So I mean that comes with its own issues, but like the point stands that like you can endear people in that way and to have a thing beyond just profit, I guess. So they make a ton of fucking money.
I mean, because do you think that people would stop going to NCAA games if the players were making money?
Absolutely not.
No,
I think absolutely not. No, hell no.
Well, let's because I was kind of thinking too that this kind of brings up a good point. Is it kind of like touches on too. So we're kind of been dancing around it, but also the NCAA is facing a challenge to not paying the athletes in California right now, where legislation has passed both branches of their state legislature, and a bill is on its way to the governor that would allow them to sell their likeness, athletes to sell their likeness, which of course the NCAA is prostrating vehemently against. They claim that it's going to cause all sorts of like recruiting imbalances and blah blah blah. And so,
including somebody, by the way, including one of the board members who is like super opposed to this. His name is Dennis McDonough. Does anyone know who Dennis McDonough is?
No.
Former Obama White House Chief of Staff, Dennis McDonough. Now on the NCAA Board of Directors, now against paying players. You do, in fact, love to see it. It's great to see. And it's great.
That is great. But yeah, no. So that kind of touches on too. Like, I feel like Tebow wasn't necessarily making the argument that he thought he was, which Tebow was talking about. He was basically saying that, like, you know, it's gonna all the talking points, all the classic ones. It's going to take away from the product. Like, people want to watch amateurism because amateurism is, like, the most pure form of the game, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. Right. And I think he did kind of touch on what we were talking about with the minor league stuff. With the minor league stuff where we were saying, like, nobody is going to watch a fucking NCAA game because they're, like, I'm a scout. Like I'm scouting the future of the pro league, like in my head.
Right. Right.
Like they go
you
because
go,
they,
you sneak in alcohol, and you have a
yes,
great time.
Yeah.
yeah.
And by the way, is anyone who knows, if when we all go to Pornhub, what do you search for? Amateur, because you know that their hearts are in it more than the people being paid.
Oh,
And you know what I mean? You just know.
I gotta push back here. All right, people, I'm actually not gonna say what I was gonna say. I don't think Southpaws wants to go in that direction.
Maurice is saying that
bow
when
out.
he goes on Pornhub,
Honestly.
he searches feet. You Google feet,
Wow.
foot, big feet.
Hey,
Nice
we're not here to
feet.
king shame. We're not here to king shame.
No,
We are
I'm
saying
not
that
either.
you should
I don't know, man.
pay the porn athletes.
But you should pay sex workers though, and you should definitely pay for your porn.
Yes.
But don't pay giant corporations. Pay the models themselves.
Are you subscribed to anything, Maurice?
No, because I'm poor.
That's fair enough.
So you're telling us that
Porn's
that you are no fap because you cannot.
Wait,
Yeah,
my connection's going out, guys. Are you there? Hello?
We're there.
I'm here.
I haven't seen
Nah,
your
I'm here.
video in 10-ish minutes. It's just been loading.
Have you seen me? I've been turning it on and off.
You've been very diligent, Nate. Oh,
I've been
Maurice is
diligent.
back.
The whole connection thing was a joke. I was just messing with you.
Now
no,
Nate is gone.
Wait a minute.
I can only
Wait
get
a-
one person at a time on my. There we go. I got both.
Yeah.
It really
Yeah.
does work, Maurice. It really does work if you turn your camera on and off every 30 seconds.
I'm sorry,
And you do need to do it every 30 seconds because
You're very
otherwise you'll
diligent.
fuck up.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No,
I'll
I
be
mean,
better.
But yeah, so the NCAA, of course, is like prostrating. I don't think anybody who's like a fan of this show does not disagree that this bill is at least like a beginning. So how do you think about it as being like a way? Like, do you think that this is a viable? That passing bills like this, like as we get one or two going, because they're already talking about like, oh, it's going to cause recruiting imbalances and blah blah blah. And honestly, I mean, I guess there are some legal precedents that have upheld amateurism for the NCAA, but I mean, like, how do you guys feel about this as being like a viable strategy for getting athletes paid?
Well, I think that I kind of look at it like the way I look at prison abolition, because like I think the end goal with prison abolition is to get rid of prisons, right? There
Yeah.
are no prisoners, there are no prisons. The same way as our end goal is to make sure the athletes are getting paid what they should be getting paid. And for me, it's like whether they were talking about decarceration or excarceration, like any bill or any law or any measure or step that gets us closer to having less prisoners and having less prisons, I think is a necessary step, even if that step itself is not complete abolition. And so I think that like it's kind of the same parallel here, where even if the athletes are not necessarily getting paid and this is not what they should be, and even if it's not necessarily the exact measure that I want or the end goal that I want, if it's something that's better than what we have and moving towards what we want, I have to be in favor of it.
I think a couple of things. The first one is I agree, and I think that it's good. I think that it has no chance. It's not going to actually become law because it's set to take effect in 2021. And I think that everybody who passed the law knows that it's about putting pressure on the NCAA to change. Because, like, the NCAA will never allow a piecemeal state-by-state thing to occur. If it's really, really up against the wall, I think that it will choose to reform all states because it's just a nightmare to have state-by-state rules. And I think that's a good thing, and I think that it's very smart. It reminds me, in no way, I'm just saying because like this is sort of my day job, so it reminds me of like the civil rights movement the sort of legal strategy of people doing like constantly like firing off lawsuits, challenging like Jim Crow stuff. Like it's a tactic, and it's a pretty effective one. If you can just tie the NCAA up all over the country, it has the potential to be really effective in that way, and just like keep them on the defense at all times, and not able to spin stuff. I do think if we take it at face value, I don't like the California bill as much as I do. There's actually another bill that has no chance of passing, but it is the better bill in South Carolina. Surprising state for it to come out of. That's but a couple that's why it's not going to pass. But a couple of good legislators came out with this bill, because the problem I have with the California one. So it's a good step, and it's like you can you can hire an agent who can help you license your name, help you get endorsements, whatever, and that's going to really help. But it's only really going to help for like the quarterback at USC or like a star defensive player at UCLA. Like for the 80%, 90% of the players who really will not be able to get endorsements is sort of like not really helping them. But again, that's nitpicking. Overall, it's a good thing that they're pressuring. But South Carolina had a bill that's like and their thing is, that's a nitpick, is they said every revenue sport, every sport that makes money, which again is poo-poo, but still better. Every revenue sport, you'll get, along with your scholarship, a stipend of $5,000. Should be more. Yeah. But it's addressing the fact that, like, okay, so only the star players really have a shot of getting any sort of licensing deal or, like, a large amount of jerseys being sold. So we need to go for all football players, and getting a stipend of $5,000 should be 10, 15, 20. But I think that's the better model, is, like, you should be able to license your shit. Additionally, it's an additional thing, but we need to have a base stipend. Everybody needs to get a certain amount.
Yeah, and I mean they have like that's been like minor victories that people have been like getting for like a little bit, is like because like I mean I like that first kind of generation, I think, of athletes that kind of started talking about like, well, this was horse shit, that like I had to go do this, like even a guy like Arian Foster, who like really took advantage of his education and whatnot. He even like said like stuff like, like I couldn't pay for food and blah blah blah. So obviously we're to like the next step, and just like the fact that like, I mean, like this likeness thing is like legitimately the bare minimum. Like that is like just a complete. That's just such a gross violation of like your agency as labor. Like that wouldn't be acceptable in literally any other thing other than this just twisted system that we've built in the NCAA.
Twisted system.
Yes, this twisted system.
I just like that little term, twisted system. Yeah. Check out my punk band at the Lookout. Twisted System.
Yeah, it's just and without even getting into like the class politics of like where amateurism came from. It's just insane that like this has just so much traction like in our society. Especially when I feel like everyone admits that like all the athletes are getting paid except for on their own team, is like I guess kind of how I would describe people's feelings on it.
Yeah.
Like everybody thinks their own team is the one that doesn't pay. So.
Well, I think that every team. Yeah, it's just kind of it's hypocrisy. I think it's gross hypocrisy, and that also that Illinois is the only good school and doesn't pay anybody at all. So next topic, please. That's
true. I actually have been in classes with all the athletes. They're brilliant. They all make great contributions to class.
But so many of those guys are like, from like poor as shit families. So even if they get paid, like how much of that money is really going to them anyway? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Usually, what people get pinched is like when they get caught, it's stuff like the UNLV thing where it's like, oh, there's a pic of them all in a jacuzzi, like having improper sort of like a trip they were given, or like, ooh, somebody was given a car. Because if you give them straight cash, most of that cash, I'm assuming, goes to like paying off my mom's $20,000 in credit card bills, paying off the mortgage, paying off my little sister's college loans. It's like that money's not fucking like floating in the air. You know what I mean? Like, because almost every family is in debt in some way.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, that was like the Miles Bridges thing was like clearly like a pay, like it was like paying for like a mom's bill or something like that.
And who gives a fuck?
Yeah. No, I don't give a shit.
Do we all know the Ed O'Bannon thing?
What's Ed
Speaking
O'Bannon?
of likeness.
What's Ed O'Bannon? Oh, the guy who sued about the video game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, the last NCAA college basketball game, which, to be fair, I enjoyed playing. But anyway, I did enjoy playing it.
I miss them because
they are fun, but they're not, whatever, they're gone now. But Ed O'Bannon, classic, I think the last UCLA national championship in the mid-90s. So Ed O'Bannon's like son or something is like playing this fucking video game, and you like can unlock the 1995 UCLA team. And he's just like sitting there being like, the fuck? And he like, no one asked him, and he's like, is that me? Just him. He's playing himself. He's like, what the fuck is this? He's out of college. He's been out of college for like 10 years. And they're just like, yeah, no, we just used you for the game. Who cares?
That's wild.
And then he sued and he got those games stopped, which is good.
Didn't Kareem also like have something to say about using his likeness in the game? Like I want to say like that he used his star power to like say like yeah, give me I'm not in that, like take that out.
He's good. I'm sure he did. He's good as hell.
Yeah.
Kareem's a true dude.
Yeah.
Good dude.
I do just want to point out, though, that NCAA basketball is not the only NCAA game that was out there in the last decade or so. They had MVP baseball. It moved over to NCAA, and that was one of the best baseball games I've ever played.
They had a college baseball game?
They did, yeah.
Was it good?
Like, dude. Well, it was the MVP series, so they couldn't get licensing or something for MLB. So they switched over to NCAA, and they started making college baseball games, and it was about as good as the MVP baseball 2005.
Kentucky workers
You
can't
would be
become
kind of
specialists.
sick to
You don't
play
become a
video
specialist
games.
overnight. Just ask Ben Brumley of
Like that.
Cardinal
I like
Carrier. Our
That's the
company has
worst
been in
part.
business for 54 years.
Terrible. This is
I
terrible.
like the ping.
I bet you do.
It's the worst. It's the worst part. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, forget the unpaid labor, man.
I've never
Well, no,
I
the
never
game is just
truly
awful. I would
understood.
never go watch fucking college baseball. I would watch it every once in a while. Dude, it's
Yeah.
awful. Have you gone to a college baseball game? It's terrible.
No, but I will say
why?
though, why?
Because it's
Yeah.
because the level of play is very poor. Because if you were worth if you were good at the sport at all, you would just be playing fucking minor league baseball.
Minor leagues.
And at least
That's
at
not true. There are
Illinois,
plenty of college
at
guys.
least at Illinois, it was a fucking turf field, and they're playing with aluminum bats, and like the pitchers last about 4 innings. It's just I can't.
I will say though, I mean, I know we hate the ping, but Little League baseball, man, that shit is bomb to watch. Like Little League World Series, that is some of the best baseball I've ever watched in my life.
Yeah, I mean, but that's because it's kids. It's funny. It's funny when they cry and stuff.
Because of the ping. We love the ping.
We don't
to
love
see
the
it.
ping. We don't love the ping.
We don't love the ping, man. Nah,
Okay.
that shit is trash.
Well, we got one last topic that I think we got to get into before we do the callers.
Yeah. go
And
ahead.
so,
I just forgot to put it on my game.
are you doing
continue
whippets
talking.
right now?
No, I'm doing the Rogaine. I'm losing my hair. Got to do it.
Oh no!
Every
I
evening.
thought that was Cheese Whiz.
I was gonna say no. We're definitely if Rogaine or the beer companies they really want to, some sponsors, I'm willing to sell out for that.
Get on it.
Yeah.
I'm willing to sell out for some sort of video software that works.
Rogaine presents Southpaws.
You guys are
just
both bald, so
I'm
Nate's
just-
balding.
What the fuck? No.
Yeah.
I have
I feel
stopped my balding.
Wait, Adam, I thought you were balding more than Nate.
Yeah.
Balding,
let's
dude.
talk
I just
about
got a
that.
widow's peak.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
sorry,
sure.
man.
Okay.
This is the natural hairline that I have.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. It's distinguished. It's distinguished. It makes you look like a vampire.
Oh man, that's where we're going with this.
Dude, vampires are very cool and sexy. Everybody knows this.
I just want to let everyone know out there that while Nate and Adam have very specific terms for which they would sell out, I will sell out for virtually anything. So, if you got the cash, I got the ass, and I'm ready for it. All right.
Welcome to Southpaws Podcast, presented by Lockheed Martin.
I want Kaiser Sose. Wait, is that what the medical company is?
No, that's a man's name.
Yeah, that's the only reason why I like their name. Is because the fucking Usual Suspects.
Is Kaiser Permanente.
Oh, Kaiser Permanente, which is even more.
They're
funny.
they're known as like the good healthcare company. Like we're the good guy, which they are. Out of all the immoral shit, they're the least immoral.
Ew. So Nate is trying to angle for his Obama appointment with that one.
Yeah.
Anyways, all right. Well,
Julian Castro, baby.
let's get into the last thing that's not related. Those two things were related. These things not so much related. We're talking about the MLS. The MLS trying to ban Antifa from the games, essentially.
From their Mickey Mouse fucking minor league.
Yes, I don't really watch MLS, I'm not going to lie. I do have USL tickets, and the
Same.
USL games are fun, but I'm not trying to pretend that, I enjoy the supporters culture, which is what we're talking about. So just to recap, it was Portland, right? That Portland has a group called the Iron Front, uses some Antifa type imagery.
In Seattle.
Was it Seattle? It might be Seattle that started it.
There was last month it was Portland, and then
Well, yeah, but
earlier
the
this
Iron
week,
Front,
Seattle.
the Iron Front is from Portland.
Yeah.
And
Seattle was the banners.
well, hold on. And so
Spoiling
Portland.
things.
So Portland was trying to ban the Iron Front from using their symbols and imagery, which kind of was in response to, I don't know if it was direct response, but a lot of this started boiling out of NYCFC has some pretty open Proud Boys and alt-right type affiliations, which kind of goes back to their MetroStar, the MetroStars are not the NYCFC, but MetroStars that are now Red Bull and FC or NY Red Bull or whatever. They had some Nazi problems early. There's a great Vice article about some guys who had some anti-fascist action against those groups. So anyways, kind of I think really what's happening isn't so much that MLS, I guess, is taking a stance towards fascism. They kind of are just trying to pull this like both sidesism crap where they're like, oh, well, we just want people... They ultimately want people to express no political affiliation, which has led to almost all supporters groups attempting to make political affiliations.
Yeah.
In solidarity with Iron Front, which has been very cool. Entire supporter groups have just like left the stadium. Seattle and Portland in a game in Seattle, I think it was. They observed like 33 minutes of silence, of total silence. As
Do you know what the number 33 symbolized? Or
I
they
can't
just
remember now. It was something. It was.
That was when the Nazis took power, 1933.
I don't think.
I'm spitballing here, but it's true that date.
It was. Hold on. It was. Yes. It was when the Nazi regime banned the symbol. Was 1933 of the Iron Front, which is the 3 arrows.
Woo!
Yes, good one. So there's been a lot of stuff where MLS has been trying to kind of certain teams have been trying to go outside of MLS and kind of trying to say they haven't been enforcing the ban as much. It's even reached USL, like even my supporters group in USL has been like showing like Iron Front. They changed the arrows to 3 whales because we're the dead whales, which was kind of cool. Yeah, so like basically this is kind of like bubbling over, and like a lot of people are trying to make the point that like MLS like asked for this and is now shocked that it's happening and is upset that they can't make it go away in the way that like the NFL can. So I guess
True.
I guess what are you guys' thoughts in like terms of like how this like is looking for MLS and you know like what kind of things do you find interesting about the actions themselves?
Well, it's total. Oh, go ahead. You got it.
No, you should.
No, you go ahead. We just do that for like 45 minutes. No.
No, I mean, it's. I guess like other sports haven't taken like as direct action, but I mean like it's definitely like a thing in sports of like I want my politics out of sport, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean really, I think really it's always been what sorts of politics do we want in sports and what sorts of politics are allowed in sports, you know. Which I guess that for me is kind of the bigger issue, because like I don't know that much about MLS. So that's kind of hard to say. I guess one thing that I know you guys brought up in prep was the Pride Nights, though. Like I was just kind of confused as to how that fit into the whole like no politics thing.
Well, I mean, because MLS teams have like Pride Nights, which I thought was interesting. Because they're trying to say, and I think it's good they're having Pride Nights, but they're trying to say no politics. But what they really like, they're just being like normie liberals, where it's just sort of like the Pride Nights are like 10 years ago, 20 years ago, the Pride Nights would have been just as controversial as people bringing anti-fascist banners to the stadium. So it's just sort of
that's a good point.
If you are something something that's been subsumed into the mainstream politicalness, then it's not political anymore. And I thought that was a really interesting, because we all talk about how like they say don't be political, but there's always military appreciation, right? There's always that sort of thing. But I just thought it was interesting how this was we've loved the military since the beginning of the country. But like with Pride Night, I thought it was interesting how, you know, even 10 years ago, this would have been treated the same way as anti-fascist banners. If someone was like, if people came out and said legalize it now, and that was the frame they had it in, sort of like Obama legalize it, they would be seen the exact same way as rabble rousers, thrown out, ejected, banned, whatever. So it's like they're just it's just transparently something where it's like, oh, this is just like, do not disrupt the money coming in, because what we really care about is just like we know that the Pride stuff is not going to really upset people, and it's not going to affect our ticket sales at all, and that's what we care about. Please don't do anything political that will fuck up our ticket. That's what they're saying.
Well, let me just throw out one sec real quick. is that Comcast actually tried to take away our Pride banners at the U.S. Women's World Cup qualifiers. So
well, that's
I mean,
not surprising though.
So
But think about it though, like if that's not Pride Night though, like there's always like they always allow certain spaces for those types of things, right?
That's true.
It's like college campuses who will allow you to protest, but like they have a specific area for you to protest, right? Like
Yeah.
you can protest, but you guys got to do it over there in that little designated red circle. But anything outside of that circle is a problem, and so that I mean that doesn't surprise me.
Well, it's kind of like it's something that's subsumed into the regular sort of discourse, regular sort of like mainstream is like, oh, we made a fucking like pin or something like, first 10,000 people will give you a little fan that has a rainbow flag on it. Like, we don't really give a shit, but this is something that we can sort of like point to. It gives us cover. If anyone ever accuses us of not, if anyone tries to attack us in the same way they attack the NFL, we can go, oh, no, look, we have these events on the calendar. But it's skin deep, like what you were saying.
Well, yeah, if there's a way to sell anti-fascism, they would come up with the way.
Right.
Which is kind of what they were trying to do. But now that it's happened, now that that's what people are kind of going to the MLS for in a way, now they're like, oh shit, now we actually sold the product that way.
I'll be right back.
Okay. We sold the product and now we're upset that like it's cut off like other revenue streams.
Right. Because that's the main point. And it reminds me of like they're not the, and I guess like major sports franchises and industries in general are not at the forefront of any sort of liberation movement. They just sit back and they got their eyes peeped for what the mainstream is doing, like Nate was saying, and then they follow suit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it shows exactly like the fact that capitalism is just like completely incompatible with any sort of like revolution or even just like the bare minimum of like protecting of like not exploiting someone. It is incapable of like bending to like anyone asking like please stop exploiting people.
Right. It doesn't care.
Well, but it's like it can't coexist with like if the product being sold is liberation, then it can't sell that. Or it can attempt to, but the second like actual like movements take hold, it has to reel back from that.
Yeah, I guess one thing that can be kind of movement for sports, and definitely in a sort of utopian society, like definitely sports exist, but like even historically, in liberation movements, I know that.
Hold on, you're cutting out.
The 50s and 60s,
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. Okay, we're back. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what were we saying? Liberation movements, the 50s.
Yeah. Just come back with that same fire. Let's go.
just that for me, it can be kind of disappointing at times when looking at the modern day sports and the lack of like fire that there is to start or be a part of any sort of liberation movement when there's so much potential there to be a part of those movements. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially
in what context? What are you talking about? Context? Like what is?
We were talking about MLS and the fact that they want to keep politics out of sports, but or so they say, but that's like never actually been their thing. And it's just like, but the idea though of keeping politics out of sports to me is very anti-sport, and it's very anti-history of sport. Because I just don't think that's ever been the idea of
Sure.
sports. Certainly in America.
Also, I feel like the MLS just doesn't understand its audience, right? Like, it's a classic case of like it kind of reminds me of a like a TV network that has kind of a small kind of cult show with very devoted fans, but a small fan base. But they fuck it up because they like try to make it into the new Sopranos or something, or the new Lost. It's like you want this to be the NFL, where it's just this bland sort of like vaguely, if it has any politics at all, it's like just vaguely authoritarian right, just like military, just authoritarian, kind of like vaguely fascist. But
Yeah.
I mean, like, what you have now is, for all of its warts, the MLS does have a growing, thriving fan base that is younger and more left than almost any other fan base, maybe other than basketball. Basketball is pretty kind of left leaning, but like, you're making rules based off the aspirations of the kind of league that you want, but you're ignoring the league that you have.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I mean, your people want you to be active on this, and if you're gonna grow it, that's how you have to act. But they're trying to say, no, we have to act in a way that will like bring us to where we want to be 20 years from now, which is the new NFL. And it's like, that's exactly how you're gonna fucking sink yourself. That's how you're gonna fuck this up.
Yeah. What's interesting? I thought that the NFL would sink itself by now, because I thought that seriously,
People like football. Yeah.
I thought that there were too many. Maybe I just had a little too much hope, but I thought that there were too many people who didn't hate black people that were football fans too. And I thought that perhaps like the Kaepernick thing and the boycott NFL thing, I thought it was going to take off a little more than it did.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
it didn't. Like, I was wrong, obviously.
We're the best country in the world at like systemic racism, though. So like, doesn't surprise me that much, because like that's how the JC thing really hurts, It's like,
yeah.
We try to tell ourselves that like we don't, like, for better or for worse, like, there was a story a couple weeks ago, like some black soccer players in like Italy, like they just throw bananas on the field. They just like chant. They just like do monkey chants at them, like while staring at them in the eyes. Like, just do a monkey chant and whip a banana at them. Like, luckily we don't have that. What we do have is like, if you can hide our racism behind even the thinnest excuse, we're fine with it. And
Very fine.
That's kind of insidious too, because it allows a lot of people to just say they're not racist or not examine their own. Mostly it's people just not examining their own beliefs, just not ever diving any deeper than just the base level. They are racist. They don't think that they're racist, and they're not willing to look inside.
Yeah.
So,
and not only that,
Yeah.
but like the people who are like most disadvantaged and most affected by racism, whenever they speak out about with truthfulness, like they're ostracized, they're seen as being, like troublemakers in a society that wants people to be, mundane and very straightforward and following.
Yeah,
For sure.
and it kind of gets to my last thought on it is like, it kind of gets to like what we've talked a lot about, like things like women's soccer or I guess like lesser sports leagues, quote unquote, like leagues where you know, they don't have as much attention. Like we talked about with the USL and things like that, like where, you know, because they're not in the spotlight, they can kind of try to, like they're kind of forced to cultivate like a niche interest. But like, it's like I was saying, like as soon as like any sort of like capital is like introduced, or like the opportunity to like to enter that mainstream media capital, you see things like having our fucking pride flags taken away, you know, like things like that. It's like, it's only fine when we only want to buy, like we want to sell you a product to like a small audience, and we don't care. And like as soon as like that could enter like a mainstream audience, we're just we're cutting off all of that stuff, because it needs to be as bland as possible to appeal to like this monoculture, you know.
But it's also not bland. Like the default is like vaguely fashion.
Well, but yeah, I mean, like, so look at like the NFL, which is like the dominant sports league in the United States. Like, yes, maybe we don't have, I guess, like things like people chanting, making monkey noises at black players, similar like what just happened, you know, in Syria. But I mean, there definitely are, you know, we have our own racist overtones, because like that's what serves like the widest amount. Like the default is to appeal to racism. It's not to not appeal to racism.
Yeah.
Because racism is compatible with capitalism, and it is and selling, like allowing people to be racist allows you to continue to have people not care about like the racist exploitation that is like at the heart of like creating this entire product. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
And so like the second that if MLS like tomorrow had the success of the NFL, I guarantee it would be even more than just like trying to figure out like if they allow like anti-fascist imagery. It would be like, how quickly can we set up like soccer camps that are similar to like things that MLB has for the DR? You know,
I'm just trying to imagine the MLS being as popular as the NFL, and what it would mean of like fucking like guys like Hank Hill like being like, oh, I'm going out to Real Dallas. I'm going to Houston FC game. My favorite soccer player of all time, Bart Starr. It's just like fucking like chuds, how they would contort themselves to being cool with soccer. It'd be fun to watch.
Hey, it's already starting to happen. So, all right, let's run this down. Let's get into the calls. I put the calls in the chat for you guys. So if you guys want to mute your mics and listen to them while I play them, you can. But why don't we start first with, we received a text message that was just this tweet, which did you guys saw the Chicago Bulls thing, right? Flipped upside down. Did you guys both see it?
It's just a robot spreading out butt
don't
cheeks.
spoil it. Clifton, did you see it?
No.
Okay. Luff, will you email it, or will you message it to him? I'm gonna put it on the screen, which Clifton cannot see. So I'm gonna transition here. Yeah. So I have on the screen right now the tweet that we received in our email. Or on our hotline, that if you turn the Chicago Bulls logo upside down, it is a robot having sex with a crab.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I guess I can see the crab.
Say it one more time say one more time. I was trying to find the picture. Say it one more time to me.
If you turn the Chicago Bulls logo upside down, it is a robot having sex with a crab.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we debating whether it's more like a robot or more like having sex with a crab?
I mean, I definitely see the robot, and I definitely see the hands. It's kind of like...
Yeah.
I mean, I can see it. Yeah. I don't know what kind of genitalia a crab has.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. Wait. No, that is very apparent.
All right.
Holy shit. Wow.
Yeah,
That's pretty hot too.
That's what you're into.
Well,
And you better pay the performers if that's what if you're getting off this much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me send some money to the Bulls. Yeah. Jerry needs my money.
It's kind of some angry sex too, or sort of like just real because the robot's got a big old frown, angry frown too.
Well, I think that he doesn't have a mouth, or you say I think that looks like abs, like he has abs.
Oh.
No, you guys are wrong. No, that's like he's like wearing a shirt.
Robots don't wear shirts. Why do they have to wear shirts?
This guy does. I don't know. This guy does. I don't. What do you want me to tell you? Some robots do apparently.
But that was all the message was. This is all the message was just a link to this tweet.
I love the idea of Adam arguing of like, dude, no, we're looking at the picture of the robot fucking the crab. It's not wearing a t-shirt, dude. They wouldn't do that. The robot fucking the crab would not wear a t-shirt.
Robots do not wear sex. They don't have sex with their shirt on. That's
true.
They don't. But robots don't have body image issues.
But I was gonna say, like, what if they had body dysmorphia? All right, this is 2019. Robots are becoming more human and more human.
Robots are becoming more human because they're just operated by exploited workers in the third world at this point.
And you think those workers don't have body dysmorphia?
There's a drone operator in like Bangladesh whose sole job for 10 hours a day is to fuck crabs with a robot.
Yes.
Why did you give me sentience?
Okay. Okay, so if you guys can mute, I'm gonna play the recording.
Okay.
I'm playing the longer one, so I think it's the second one. It's whichever one the file is bigger. I'll recap it just to make sure you heard it. So I forgot that I have to like give these to you guys before so you can hear them. So because I forgot you can't hear them when I play them on the stream. So okay, so I'm gonna play our first call.
I was just watching the pitiful New York Mets play, watching them commit yet more errors, and I was just reminded of the fact that, esports athletes are real athletes. You watch all these kids play StarCraft and see how many actions per minute they do. And, I'd like to see Adrian Gonzalez, when he was playing for the Mets last year, do as many actions per minute as these StarCraft kids, or build as fast as Ninja does in Fortnite. I don't know. I just think we need to unionize the e-athletes, and I don't know. I fuck the Cubs.
Okay. Did you guys get that about esports athletes?
Gamers are athletes. I agree.
I knew a guy who was a professional StarCraft player, and he had some sort of mental breakdown, and his car broke down on the side of the road in St. Louis, and he walked to a town in central Illinois. So I don't know if that reflects on what kind of person is a StarCraft athlete.
Is he doing okay now?
Well, I have no idea. I haven't heard from him in years.
Did I hear correctly at the end? It's like fuck the Cubs.
That is the message that the robot says on our call-in line.
I don't think that's is that really? Is that true? No,
he said leave a message after the beep and also fuck the Cubs. And so the caller was reminding us that we should always remember fuck the Cubs.
What I think is interesting is it's continuing on the theme of like chuds watching soccer is like New York, the Twitter New York City Guido voice watching StarCraft. Like that's what you would need. We need Bronx StarCraft players. That's what I think you're missing. Is there's no New York City born and bred StarCraft elite players. And we just need 5,000 just obese Long Island cops and firefighters just being like I fucking love StarCraft. I love New York City, best city for StarCraft. Something like that. I don't know.
I don't know. You know, Illinois has a very good esports team too, right?
I bet we do. I bet we do.
Can you imagine, like, if we just become like an esport? Like, how would you feel? What about if they they bring back the NCAA basketball game, and say
Yes.
the Illinois esports team wins like 9 national championships in a row, playing as Illinois in the esports NCAA basketball championships. Is that some sort of monkey's paw for you?
Absolutely. I mean, yeah. No, I mean, not even a question. I will take any championship that I can get. Really, yeah. No, if we can. Well, it's really funny. I would like to see if that happened. I would like to see Brad Underwood make the pilgrimage to the esports facility to get plays. So I'm assuming 9 championships, they're innovating. They're creating plays. They're drawing up their own, like, because you can do that in those games. You can create your own defensive concepts. You can adjust the sliders. And I'm assuming just extremely red, extremely mad, sweating Brad Underwood, just like, tell me about the sliders. I want to know about the slider. What's the slider to win? And then he starts talking to his own kids like that. He's like with IO or something with the start like, listen, right now you're at about like a 70-30 when it comes to playing conservatively versus playing for the steal. But I've actually crunched the numbers with the esports lads. And we need you to be about a 50-50. That's how you get more steals. It's good. That's what I want.
Maybe Brad would just quit and become an esport coach. He just run an esports team.
Get on the fucking treadmill if you take a day off. Put in less than 14 hours a day. Get on the fucking treadmill.
Yes, I feel conflicted about esports. I appreciate there is a physical level to it, and it seems like a lot of those guys who play very highly competitively. Like I kind of got a little bit into League of Legends, and so I'd watch guys play, but never to the point that like I would just turn on and like a live esports event or whatever. But like I mean, they basically hit their peak at like in their mid-20s and like are not good anymore after they like turn 30 or whatever. So I mean, there's clearly like a physical and mental component that like peaks the same as like I don't know what you call body using, well, like sports athletes, but I don't know if I can get into the esports thing.
I wonder how much
You're cutting out. I don't got you.
Of Fort.
What was that?
Anymore.
What'd you say?
Same.
Here, wait. I'm losing both.